Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer II, The Shadow and the Blade. Gosh, there's a lot of enemies out here. It's just a really hostile environment, you know? So let's make something of it. Let's kill everyone. Oh boy, that's a lot of people though. There's a lot of people to try to kill. I don't have a strong plan. I'm realizing now. So obviously, we need to deal with the armies in the north. We have an Emperor Karl Franz problem. That is a little bit greater than I was expecting to have to deal with, and even Hans Drietzmann here is pretty scary. This is a real army, so I'm wondering if we need to recruit another. We need to start building another army of our own. I know that it would be very, very expensive at this point to put together another force, but I'm just looking at the what is arrayed before us here, and wondering if it might be actually necessary. As long as we're at war with the Border Princes and the Dwarves, even if we want to move these armies north, we can't move them too far north, right? They'll be able to help pushing on this stuff eventually, and we'll maybe lose the things south of the mountain range, but, there's no universe where we can bring those two armies up into this area so that we can use these two armies to push, way up here. I think we might have too much war at the moment for the number of forces that we're running, even if we assume that our western and southern fronts are completely safe, which is not necessarily a safe assumption, because again, we are still at war with those elves. It's precarious. It's a really precarious position. What did we determine was the amount of money? We're talking about 5k just to have another army. And then we would have about 3,600 gold per turn worth of upkeep available to us. For comparison, this army costs 8,000 gold a turn. So putting together another force on the level of this one is somewhere in the neighborhood of 13,000 gold per turn, which we absolutely cannot afford. That's difficult. What's Bilefitch costing us right now? Maybe we could run another Yeah, we could run sort of a half army full of Skaven slaves again. It's not ideal, and obviously we'll continue to gain cash as we continue to improve buildings and stuff. Yeah, that might be actually 100% completely necessary. Anyway. We need to actually make some progress here. So, let's do this thing. This is very doable, right? This is the thing that I was supposed to be starting the episode with. So we have 5 units of catapults, which are going to be very difficult for the enemy to deal with. They have a lot of guns on the walls, which is a real problem. But I'm confident we can handle this without having to go in hard on producing siege gear. We don't need no towers. Let's just blow a hole in the wall and then run through that hole and murder everybody. Is that actually our strategy here? I think it might be. I know I usually try to go over the wall, but it's tough for us to fight dwarves on the wall. Our forces are really not up to the task. They've given us a nice dead zone here that we can sit in while we work on a portion of the wall. Where's my reinforcements are coming in right there. There's, this is all not actually part of the battle map. You can see it's outside of the wall. So we don't have an analogous space on this side. So I think even though our reinforcements are coming in kind of on the left, I think we still want to be on the left ourselves with the main army. And we're just going to roll up. They have guns, but they don't really have any anything that does explosive damage, so there's not a lot of reason for us not to group up on this one. And also, if you've been watching the campaign thus far, you know, even if there was reason not to group up, there's a non-zero chance I would do it anyway. So yeah, we're going to get inside the tower arc range, and we're just going to hammer that section of wall, I think is the plan. We'll create a hole, we will go through the hole, and we will fight them in there, because my guns don't work really that well in this wall situation. So everybody, just do this for right now is the plan. And once it lets me see the... again, there's absolutely no reason that you shouldn't be able to mouse over an empty tower and get the the range of that tower visible. That's a thing they really need to fix. How about this? We do 2 units of siege things right here, and then 1 just behind those. Yes, those are all outside of the thing. Cool. And then everybody else needs to end up even closer to the wall. Because it turns out they have quite some aim with those towers. Quite a wide range. I'm going to have a lot of this army move this way, but we're going to try to move the siege gear and the guns and stuff over there. A lot of us are just going to do our best to challenge the wall somewhere else. So we can just climb up and draw some dwarves off. So, we don't have quite as many pure damage spells to drop here. Like, we don't have anything we can spam out like the lightning. We can definitely do an Assault of Stone on these guys up here. I think that's absolutely worth doing. I mean, there's a lot of dangerous units in this army, but I think for our purposes, we want to reduce the number of ranged dwarves that exist. Then, as soon as our siege gear is in position, we'll start doing the thing. You need to get way over here, because as a large target, you are actually in significant danger right now. And I mean, the Assault of Stone did something. That was not nothing. Not literally nothing. Have they left their cannon alone? Or sorry, it's an organ gun. I thought it was a cannon. Alright. Obviously, we'll be looking for opportunities on that one. Okay, so everybody except the catapults. Well, the gunners also need to... Okay, hold on. Get over here and we'll figure out all of that stuff later, except you 3 units of gun troops, you need to get over here where we are creating the hole and be ready to join us in exploiting it. It should not take, in theory, a terribly long time to do this. The walls are pretty vulnerable to focused artillery fire, and we have a fair amount of artillery. I think I'm just going to have these catapults start firing from here. I'm getting a red indicator. I'm assuming they're just like slightly out of range. But, like, there's very little reason to walk them all the way over to the corner, given the amount of time that would take. The good news, obviously, is that we'll be getting some value out of the catapult fire on the wall in terms of killing archers as well, which is nice. Just keep pouring winds of magic into the big pool. We can throw some stuff down, like we could do a plague. I'm just gonna cast a plague over here just to... Oh, wow, it's really short range. I did not remember that. Because we may as well. There's very little cost to that. Do love the tolling of that infernal bell. Okay, they're starting to panic a little bit. They don't like the things they're seeing here. Obviously, these units are going to get torn up a bit as they cross, but there's really no solution for that. We could try to wait until we had scared the enemy away from the towers before bringing them forward, but honestly, the amount of time that we would lose by doing that probably would mean we would take a lot more losses. Hold on, are we not all aiming at the same wall section? I think we're creating 2 holes. You know what, that's fine, actually. Maybe even better than fine. Okay, and these guys have been left to their own devices, so let's see if we can do something about this. Okay. We have created a couple of decent breaches in the wall, so... Now, we need these units to, like... I'm going to have them fire... just, like, at these guys up on the wall. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to have them fire it. Sorry, I should probably, ideally, target different units with these. You shoot at those guys. Okay. We have successfully drawn off a significant portion of the enemy army. I don't think that the units that are over here have almost any value as far as actually fighting the dwarves, but I'm going to have them run over this way, and let's see if we can draw some people even further to the side. Actually, not you. You should come be a part of the actual battle. All right, let's do this thing. So, first through the gate, let's have these guys come through. They've left basically no defenders at all because they've been so concerned about this push. So I think we're just going to run through, try to set up Stormies inside here. We'll get control of the gate if we can, which may or may not be relevant. And then the most important thing is the establishment of the gun teams on the inside of the wall. Once we have control of the inside of the wall, we can do a lot of things, including easily and cheaply climbing up onto the wall from behind in a way that doesn't exhaust all of our units. That'll be a big deal for murdering all of the enemies. And we're not going to Assassin's Trophy that guy until we're actually up on him. This reduces magic resistance, so when the real fighting starts, a little bit of Scryer Clanstone will be useful. And I'm not 100% sure what to do with the less elite units. I'm going to have them line up right here so that they can report quickly into the battle at a moment's notice. Do we want to move the catapults? Well, you know what? We should definitely move the lightning cannons inside, at the very least. Do I want the catapults inside, or are they better off where they are? No, we may as well. We may as well. Let's just, can I not get them to straighten out into... Okay, that's fine. That'll do. All right. Let's see how that goes. He sees the way the tide is turning. He realizes he should not be here. Start using our formation disruptors to keep them from countering our movement here. Come on, buddy. Get inside. Right. Don't let those great weapon dudes actually engage. So you can see they're going to turn around and shoot at us from the wall a little bit, but I think we've actually gotten a lot of what we needed to get done here done already. What's the cooldown on this? 120 seconds. Okay, so we don't want to waste it. I think I want to hold it until these guys get a little bit closer, but we can throw out a dreaded 13th spell right now. We have a ton of wins in the pool, so we should regen this pretty quickly. Let's create some dudes. And then... we don't need Holy Clamor right now, but I guess it doesn't... or Unholy Clamor, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, whatever. We'll wait until people actually need some leadership. Yeah, they're going to be able to get a limited number of their dudes into actual attacking position here. I'm a lot less worried about them shooting down at us than I was about them shooting down at us when we were on the other side of the wall. This feels like the moment for Assassin's Trophy. Should probably... we gotta be a little careful about how we commit our Grey Seer here, because we don't want him getting cut to pieces by the guns. Okay, you guys have done a fine job of distracting these enemies. Here's what I want you to do. Keep that up. Just run over here now. Alright, the units that need to get through are slowly getting through, and this is the moment, I think, when we go ahead and cast the Clanstone and start doing stuff. Or doing more heinous stuff. Okay, our people are retreating out through the gate that should not be open to us. That's weird. I'm gonna have these storm vermin try to get in here, because I would really love it if our gunners would shoot. Like, guys, you see that you... there you go. Well, we have some guns going. You see that you have an opening, right? And that you could theoretically be doing stuff. leadership up. Let's bless some people with filth. Our assassin in here, and he's a little deeper than I would like. Movement speed, go! Don't be up ahead by yourself. Don't be a hero. Okay, there we go. Now some gunfire's happening. Okay. This is going to be really hard for them to deal with. Okay, that should break him down pretty easily. We're not getting quite as much, not getting quite as much value out of the summons as I was hoping. And there you see that thing I was worried about. Large units taking a bunch of damage from their shooters. Alright, I think this is the time to bring in the secondary melee units, and they need to push way up, while the Storm Vermin continue to hold the dangerous Lord in place. Stay on him, don't get distracted. Catapults and stuff are all doing their jobs. Just keep the enemies dancing, basically. Yeah, now that we have some level of eliteness going on in our units, we can actually do stuff like this, where we match a small number of our guys against a small number of their guys, and actually come out of that in some kind of reasonable shape. Do I need to drop a summon on this? I mean, they're just going to get immediately killed by the Ironbreakers. Is there a better use for these guys? Alright, the Doomflayers have done a fine job, but should probably disengage. And in fact, they could have a real use over here. It's Clanstone again. I think we're in a good position to shoot a fireball and then drop a plague, maybe? So at least get these guys moving. Come on. I know you can make it. There we go. They're getting out of there. I left them in that maybe a little longer than I should have. I'm a little bummed out about how hard it is for us to get our gun units to actually be able to fire in these narrow corridors. Like, we need to get out into this area a little bit better. Come on. They almost made it out. They were starting to make it out, and then they got bound up again. Keep issuing this order until you actually get out of here. There's that one Doomflayer who almost makes it out and then turns around because he doesn't want to be too far away from his friends. There we go. Now we're moving. Alright, well, I suppose at this point we can just go ahead and commit some more bodies to this. Their Lord is broken. Their hero is broken. Okay. This is over. I'm expecting a surrender any moment now. Got a number of units permanently broken. Do you guys just wanna get up and over? Give me a little bit of offense on the other side here. Hold these guys back and gunners forward. We can make short-ish work of people advancing up these streets. In theory, we'd have to actually get some of these other dudes out of the way first. Might want you to stop. Yeah, stop right there. Do we need to use our other 13th spell charge? You know what? Let's go ahead and do it, just in case. It's always a lot of exploding going on in a battle that involves Skaven and dwarves. can we pull the Skaven to this side of that dwarf unit? Because if we can reorganize a little bit here, we can shoot into the flank while continuing to melee them, which would be ideal. Also, still have these guys approaching from over here, which we can probably shortcut a little bit. One of those is a unit of Ironbreakers, so it's not necessarily safe to have all of these guys run down off of the walls at them. Okay, there we go. We're starting to fire. Stuff's happening. And I hate to disrupt you guys when you're doing so well. Here, we'll grab these dudes. These dudes aren't actually shooting. This is like a really unfortunate situation for them. Every part of this is not going well. Aw. They ran away. What a bunch of cowards. Okay, I think that was pretty successful. And like looking at the overall bars, we took a little bit more damage to our siege crew on account of spending time in front of the towers than we usually do. But like I think that was a pretty low casualty version of that thing. We very often just burn 700 or 800 bodies on an attack and trust our replenishment to solve the issue for us. But that went actually pretty well. And obviously, Bilefitch's army took more casualties because his units are garbage. But to be perfectly honest, I think they did the best thing they could possibly have done, which was distract a bunch of dwarves for a while without dying very much. Now, unfortunately, it's probably going to be kind of a pain to finish off this province. That other little settlement at the end of the mountain range is... I want to spend some food here. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain to get to Migdal von Galbarach, but I don't think it's optional. I guess even if we take that, the dwarves can still recruit at Carreg Dromar. All their other stuff over here is a little bit too far to the east to be like an immediate threat. Migdal von Galbarach has proper walls and a garrison of some kind. Probably what we will end up doing here is having Remamute handle that by himself, I think. We'll send Bilefitch north to play reinforcement. The Remamute's army should be well capable of handling that. So march mode you out to within range of Fildorf's reinforcements, which feels like a safe-ish thing to do. The enemy armies that we can see in the area are not very threatening. Obside is exhausted, so we're probably not... you know what? Honestly, those odds aren't that bad. Go for it. Alright, it was worth a try. Now we have this problem, where there are 4 enemy armies easily within a turn's movement of us. We can't get out to attack Karel Schwarzhelm, obviously. But he will be able to attack, he will be able to serve as reinforcements in the attack on us. So we have to win a battle here, or we have to back off. We need to be in an area where the total enemy force is not so much greater than our own. And I don't think taking Flensburg is really an option. I do think we could do it, but I think that we do that, then Schwarzhelm full march modes... Oh, maybe he actually couldn't even reach us. Yeah, it looks like he can't make it too far past Kemperbad. So then these 2 armies would come in to attack us there. How do they look? So that's a fairly elite. We have no idea where they're at in their recruitment. This guy at least is in a recruitment stance, so he could be 1 turn away from finishing a bunch of units. Or we could just ride over and try to take Wertbad, which has walls, but doesn't really have an army. If we did that, if we successfully took Wertbad, that would end the threat in the area. We lose Kemperbad to Karel next turn, which is not a problem, because then we just come back and get it again. And that breaks up Empire forces in the area pretty seriously. Do you still have your movement? You do. I need to make sure that there's not another army waiting for us to counterattack, though. Why it's so important to have scouts. The value of that move changes dramatically if there's an army right there, right? Okay, I feel all right about this. I think we can do this. So who's in the city and who's outside of it? Is the guy outside of it is the one slightly behind? I think the way we want to do this is by moving Infectique to the edge of the reinforcement circle. Having Ikit Claw go after this guy, and then if we get the ambush, awesome, and if not, then, you know, we do the whole thing. Alright, that's a totally trivial victory. We take what replenishment we can get, and then we take Workbad. Oh, wait, why did I didn't want to do... Well, I guess it's fine. I meant to lead this battle with the other army. I didn't realize that it had switched which army I was controlling. No, that's fine. That's actually totally cool. So -8 leadership, enemies within 55 meters, so we'll just put that on the healthiest unit of Stormies. And this is melee attack +4, so that goes on one of these guys. You guys. Okay, let's do it. Do we want to pour some food in here? I didn't think we really needed it last time, but here there are 2 rocket batteries that I want to make sure that we have the resources to harass, so we'll go ahead and drop in the 3 charges that we're allowed to drop in. So yeah, this is good. We're able to engage, now that we've got our feet under us a little bit, we're able to engage in what you might call a sort of offensive defense, where we are now protecting our lands by going to where the enemies are recruiting and killing them there, instead of waiting for them to come to us and defending our lands in our lands. This is a lot better for, first of all, long-term defense, because it means the next enemy army will be recruited even further away from our stuff. And then also, obviously, it's a lot better for actually removing the enemy's ability to recruit more stuff at you. Reinforcements are in the opposite corner. That's probably ideal. There's not a very safe location for us to hide siege stuff in here, so we could try a couple of different things. We could, is there a safe corner over here? Only a little bit. My feeling on this is we could put the siege gear off to the side in the hopes that they won't want to devote enough of their troops to cover that entire portion of the wall, and that totally might work. The other thing we could do is just post it over here and do our best to take the control box of this tower as quickly as possible, which is also fine, but remember that's capped somewhat by the movement speed of our heavy troops, which is 41. It's pretty bad. I think this is a little bit better because I don't want the enemies to have a position from which it's easy to get to a position where they can shoot at those guys, right? We want to keep them to this side as much as possible. So we won't even bother moving the siege equipment forward, because my guess is the safe spot is like all the way up there, and we're better off just hammering. Try to go far enough to the side that we're not in the firing arc of multiple towers. We have some people who need to definitely be kept safe. Alright, so Stormies, up to the thing immediately. The siege weapons will do what the siege weapons do. We don't need to worry about that too much. Looks like we already have range for our mortars, which is great. Yeah, okay, there's not too much to this, aside from the units that need to get close. And I guess we could try to move these guys up to a position where they're not towerable, since they're pretty fragile. That's actually probably true of all of the guns and also these two. Alright, and we don't have quite the same spellcasting skill with this guy, but we do have an Assault of Stone that we can drop, and which I absolutely will drop. I don't think on the units on the wall, I think that these guys are so grouped up that it feels like this is the way we want to do that. I think they're going to give that wall up to us really quickly. Oh, you need to get out of there. I forgot that you were large. Alright, they have a ton of defense on their, no, walls. There we go. Actually, you guys are maybe over here. You guys are here. You guys are there. There. You guys just get too close for them to shoot at you from. Okay, they have abandoned this portion of the wall already. What a terrible play on their part. Just truly awful. Okay, we gotta move this army up. So they do have something over here. A single unit of greatswords. Okay. This army, we don't have stormies. We're just gonna hit the wall with normal guys. I don't think I want to try a breakthrough here. I think I want to try a climb over and open, which I bet we can execute. That's not it. That's the wrong mouse button. Did you know the different mouse buttons do different things? And just everybody get close-ish, and we'll figure it all out after. Where's my other unit of catapults? Is this army not all the way in yet? Yep. That's, I think, what's happening here. They're still approaching. Okay, we're making hard for the walls. Another big downside of putting our lord on a mount is that he cannot participate in this part of the battle. What does this do? It lowers enemy melee attack considerably. That's right. I remember that. We need to get him to a position where he can actually use that. And keep an eye on the siege stuff over here, because obviously we want to be able to drop rats on it when it makes sense to do so. I'm going to use a charge of rats right now just to stop this. This needs to not be happening. It won't have much of a long-term effect, but it'll be good for them to cut it out for a minute. And then obviously there's a tremendous amount of value for us in getting control of this wall. Getting control of the gate specifically. So I don't want to go over just yet. I want to make sure that we're focused up first. We probably actually need our wizard to climb the wall because we need to be able to cast warp stars down. There we go. It's so cantankerous about letting you actually issue the climb order. Like, there's a magic pixel in here somewhere that lets you target the ladder for movement. Okay, we've got a lot of draw off over here. So we actually probably don't need the catapults to move any closer. Yeah, I'm just going to have them set up right around here. This seems fine. They're only in the firing arc of one tower, I believe. Yeah, this tower is not controlled, and it probably will not be controlled. Alright, so this should go pretty well. We can get Akit Claw up on the wall, no problem. Although he apparently had not taken the order. You know why? I gave that order by selecting the units over here, and it moves all the characters to the left. Okay, well, it's going to be a minute before you can do that thing. I'm a little surprised to see that they just abandoned these guys, rather than trying to defend them at all. And now they've moved a lot of the units out of here. They still have their lord. Like, this is going to be a short-lived incursion, but we can maybe do some damage. Alright, we have control of some of this area now. As soon as he gets up on the wall proper, we can start flinging warp stars down there. And honestly, it looks like as soon as we break this unit of greatswords, I'm going to have these stormies climb down off the wall and start opening the gate. Looks like it shouldn't be too terribly long. Do we want to do another jet wand? Probably not. Oh, the enemy gates are destroyed. We accidentally destroyed the gates while firing on enemies who are above the gates. Well, okay, that's cool news. You know what that means. Infectique and his Bone Grinder, the Death Runners, should all get through here. Well, the Death Runners should get close and we'll decide what to do. We do have to be a little careful with them. They do not have a lot of health. You guys should absolutely get in. Let's get guns in position here. Alright, go ahead and jump down. We are in control of the situation now. These great swords are no match for the bone crush. Wow, Jesus. How many guys did he just delete from existence there? Like, reduced half a dozen men to a red mist. I've heard that war is unpleasant to be in. That if you can avoid it, you don't really want to be in a war. And I guess what you're seeing right now is why. I'm gonna throw some clan rats in here, even though they're not necessarily gonna get a huge amount done. Just, like, keep the enemy off their feet for the moment. Alright, do not allow this approach. That should be pretty easy. How's this side going? What's happening over here? How are we doing? We should have control of the wall. I would think they have run up more units than I was expecting. They really devoted themselves to this side pretty hard. Let's get our man here. Let's get Ikit up on the wall. But for the moment, obviously we can give him one of these. And we can have, I guess we could have our Doomflayers just start hacking at the gate. It might turn out to be faster to get in that way. I should go help out with that. Q-Lot can get in here. Seen a lot of people not shooting. Can't help but notice. Some storm vermin are taking an interpretation of the orders I gave them, certainly. It looks like we've pretty successfully distracted a lot of the enemies. They don't really have a lot of discipline when it comes to their ranged units, which I guess is kind of true of my ranged units as well, given how they refuse to ever do anything I say or shoot at anyone under any circumstances. You guys get down here. We have more problems. What is this? This is some storm vermin? Are you sure they don't have a unit banner? The hell is the banner for this unit? Who knows? Okay, the gate is in fact almost open. Ikit Claw has gotten to a kind of fighty position. He definitely needs to keep bringing down the lightning. I guess we could just clanstone over here. Like, I may as well use it, right? Obviously, Ikit Claw can kill an awful lot of great swords by himself. Down here. So we can run an awful lot of mean-spirited garbage through the gate on this side. Okay. Can I tell you? Pretty annoyed that the enemies are still fighting. Don't they realize how futile it is? Speaking of enemies still fighting, damn flagellants never, ever, ever give up. They don't have a whole lot of units left. There we go. That was too much for him. It's like, wait a second. Have there been rats under the ground this whole time? I'm sorry to report that yes. Yes, there have been rats under the ground this whole time. Okay, so we took a little bit more damage there than I was expecting. Had some storm vermin get really torn up, climbing the walls. Here's the thing I don't actually know. I'm not sure if units that have shields can use their shields, or if they still get the benefit of the shield while taking the climbing action. You would expect, intuitively perhaps, that they might not, since, you know, while you're climbing, your hands are pretty busy. But I don't know if the game actually takes that into account, or if the way it's coded is just like, hey, whenever they're getting shot from the front, they block some percentage of projectiles. Absolutely loot and occupy Wartbad, because we're going to need the replenishment. We're not quite going to get back to full this turn. That's fine. Let's take Stand or Die. Let's replace his Rally with a thing that's really useful. This poor guy still needs to, like, learn his spells. Veil of Shadows is probably worth knowing. Maybe. Veil of Shadows is maybe worth knowing. And they have wine here. That's cool. I'm not sure that wine is really what I want. Maybe I want to go for more of a growth thing. And I think we do want to, like, we want to hold Wartbad if we can. What is the total number of provinces that we have to control? Do we have a number for that? No, we do not. Okay. For some campaigns, it tells you, you need to own at least like 50 total provinces or something. Okay. So the army from Flensburg does not have what it takes to wipe us out. I don't think that the army from Flensburg plus the Schwarzhelm army could take us out either. I'm 60% sure we would win that. So I feel pretty secure about that one. Now the question is, how do we deal with this stuff over here? And then I think, given the amount of money we've made over the course of this turn, we're going to go ahead and start our next army in Altdorf. Do I think Vamek can just take these guys worse than one-on-one? They have a lot of greatswords. They have a lot of cavalry. Cavalry is kind of not a huge problem for his army, I guess. We have a lot of spears. A lot of armor-piercing, armor-removing spears. We could probably do that. What's the Skaven corruption in the area? It's not super high. I think we can do it. And I think that removing this army from the table has a lot of value. What is his... Really? Even after losing 2 armies, he's still showing us way, way more powerful than we are. Like 60-40. That's worrying. We don't have any scouting over here, so we don't know that there isn't another full stack of guys at Weismund. Given that Altdorf has the size of garrison that it has, my suspicion is that if we were to step Vamek outside and go into ambush mode, the Empire would not respond by attacking. So I think our time would just be wasted. What we could do instead is have him kind of like wing around and try to get over here and see if we can't maybe keep Gorsel from getting attacked. So we may as well build that here. So we're going to have to deal with that problem, right? So Vamek can be his own scout. Okay, there is in fact another full-size army in Weismund. So if we were to go to Karlberg and we won the battle in a way that left us weakened, we would be completely eliminated. But the fact that they do in fact have another full army here makes me more hopeful that they might go for Altdorf, so I'm going to try that ambush strategy, now that we know that they have more of a threat in the area. Alright, and I think that's all of our armies and heroes accounted for, so let's find a way to spend 30,000 gold. Should not be difficult.
Watch your back, tail.
That's probably worth doing. Right? Well, we don't need it for any of our recruitment buildings. I think I don't actually want the upgrade to this, right? Yeah, because it removes the Plague Claw Catapult, replaces it with a Warp Lightning Cannon, which is actually way worse for base defense. Plague Monks, Storm Vermin with Halberds. So it changes 2 units of Gutter Runners into 2 units of Rat Ogres, which again might actually be worse. If we went up to tier 5, we would get to upgrade the port another time, which is another 300 gold per turn, although it's not cheap. And we would be able to do another level of upgrade on this, which is probably worthwhile. Not a high priority. Alright, if we were going to recruit another lord, what would our next lord be? What's available that's interesting here? Ambush defense chance. I do like disciplined, and obviously I enjoy a spellcasting lord. Fleet-footed is not so great on a wizard, I don't think. I mean, it's fine, but that's interesting. Maybe we make a warlord army with like a serious duelist. We're thinking that this army might be a little Skaven slavey, so warlord's good for that because they have that that skill that improves the stats of Skaven slaves. Weapon master is a cool trait on people who aren't warlock masters. A warlord with sharp teeth, racier with sharp claws. I think it's going to be the warlord. Yeah, we'll make him kind of a duelist with these bonus stats on top of the fact that warlords are already pretty good melee fighters. I bet he can tear stuff up. And he will come in at level 5, which is all right. This is gonna hurt. Okay. Our income did not change by the right amount in a way that I think is pretty weird. So let's go. Like I said, I think we're building a duelist here, right? Let's take Blade Master. And then we can summon these guys in later. So for right now, we want to grab the basics of being able to destroy cities and also destroy enemies at range, right? We can recruit mortar crews from this city now, can't we? Yes, we totally can. That's excellent. So let's grab like a couple units of catapults, a couple units of mortars. We probably want some proper guns. Like, let's say that is our special weapons crew. And then we're definitely going to end up with some Skaven slaves in this army, so let's just go ahead and start recruiting those from the global pool. Do I want all spears? The actual stat difference? Swords have a little bit more melee attack, a little bit more weapon strength, but minus melee defense. Given that the main value of the Skaven Slave Spears is that they keep the enemies in place while the rest of our stuff does the job, I think we do, in fact, want to just go spears. And then we also want a wizard of some description. We definitely want a way of using Winds of Magic in this army. But that's a thing that could wait, potentially. I guess unless we think that we're going to get attacked in the near future, which I think we might. In which case, we want that hero available so that he can start getting, XP right away. We cannot make any Plague Priests here. We do not have the Plague Priest building. So do we want a Warlock Engineer, maybe? They don't get quite as good at magic, but they do help out all of the other units in the army a little bit more. And I do like Warp Lightning a lot. Honestly, Chant Stab seems like a total winner. So we're going to get you reload time reduction for the units in this army, and then I think... Well, hold on. Maybe we don't do that. Sorry. Maybe we don't do that right away. Maybe we instead focus on spellcasting. You know, the thing we use by far the most, though, is Warp Lightning. Maybe I just, do... Oh yeah, we should take increased mobility. That's another really good reason to go Warlock Engineer. And then, we do have some equipment for Warlock Engineers, don't we? This should probably be on the Lord. So you can take an Enchanted Shield. Did we actually... We might have actually equipped all of the weird engineer equipment that we got. Let's make him cause terror, perhaps? Because he shouldn't be getting engaged in melee a ton. And if he does get engaged in melee, we want the enemies to run away from him. And, yeah, a warp field generator. Generate yourself a warp field, my friend. Here, the Portents of Verminous Doom. -4 leadership on nearby enemies. That's not bad. That could be his whole deal. He's just, really scary. And you have an engineering student. You can have a mechanic. Why not? Grab you a man-thing slave. That'll definitely be useful. And let's remember to equip stuff on the Warlord as well. So he's going to need the Gunnarsson Kron and some kind of fighty weapon. Weapon strength plus 8% versus lose 3% weapon strength for plus 4 melee attack. I think at the moment his melee attack's pretty good, but like, I want him to be able to fight enemy characters pretty successfully. Here I think we're probably going for the Dawnstone, which is fine. A Potion of Healing is pretty decent. What is the difference between Potion of Healing and Scalm? They look pretty similar. Yeah, sure. Okay, do we have any relevant followers for you? We have an awful lot of armies in total. So we've got our follower count is stretched pretty thin. He may as well... You know what? No, he actually does not need a breeder. Because the only provinces he's going to be in are places where we're all full up already. We will take a Beard Thing sacrifice just in case, and then, yeah, just some banners and stuff. A Wailing Banner. Let's make one of our units real scary. The Banner of Eternal Flame. It's an increase in weapon damage for somebody. Speed up, defense down for like a gun unit. And... but we don't have any other banners that are, like, very good. There's very little reason to equip a Dwarf Hide banner when you could just equip a War banner that is almost exactly as effective in the optimal circumstance, and then is also not useless in other circumstances. If we upgrade this... Okay. Upgrading to occupied, upgrading to the maximum level of occupied Altdorf does add another Plague Claw Catapult to the base garrison, which is probably worthwhile. And then this will be 10% more money per turn, plus 1 food. I mean, that pays itself off pretty quickly. That's over 300 gold per turn. And then, over here... we probably want to just run out a whole lot of upgrades to cheap money-making buildings, right? So I guess the best thing we could possibly do is look for all of the Tier 1 buildings. That's a very small income upgrade. Look for all of the Tier 1 buildings throughout our empire here, which is maybe not like the most exciting thing in the world, and just improve those as much as possible. You could also have one of these. I'm assuming this will be 10 gold, yeah. Do we want to put money into upgrading this bell? It would give us way more positive public order. We probably don't need to, though. That's Artois. What about over here? Over here we have a level 1. We already have one of these. So not that the level 2s are not worth upgrading, but let's make sure we have... all of our level 1s upgraded to level 2s first, because the return on that is a little bit tighter. You already have all this stuff. You have all this stuff. You are making pretty decent money for how small of a province you are. C4 Call is not really a money-making place in the first place. Rion is good. Quenelle is... right. Quenelle's its own thing. This is the same place as Brion. Oh yeah, I do have to pay attention to these, too. We can't assume that our woods issues are totally dealt with. And in the woods, it might be worth doing some upgrades on the growth buildings. Okay, so we're holding okay on this stuff. Public order's not good, but it's not plummeting either. You could take an upgrade... down here. Oh, down here we have lots of slots. You get upgraded. You get upgraded. Here we do one of those. And what was the landmark here? Oh, right. It's 150 gold per turn for not really that much money. Hold on a second. Let's undo some of these upgrades so that we can make sure we are building that. Also, upkeep minus 5% for all Skaven weapon teams in all armies is actually totally relevant. We have a fair number of those things. And we do still definitely want to do that. And we could tax this province now, Don't make a ton of money off of that. I'm going to leave it untaxed for a moment because that military crackdown is going to wear off, obviously.
Stink of betrayal strong.
Okay, I think that was pretty productive. We have damaged buildings in Steingart. Oh yeah, well, Steingart's not a real place. Okay, I think that is... Sorry, we're supposed to be checking in with Clan Moors every turn too, right? We want to make sure that we're pursuing our options with them. Alright. Number's going to keep trending upward. He'll go in for that trade agreement eventually. It is very beneficial to both of us. And one more vial of warp fuel buys us another Doom Meal upgrade, which I am kind of looking forward to. It's not a big deal. Still have no idea what Clan Moors is doing up here, but hopefully whatever they're doing, it is distracting to the Empire. That's still a no. She's strength rank 22, huh? I'm a little surprised by that. I guess I don't actually know how many players are left in the game. 22 might not be that much. Yep, no defense there, but that's fine. We'll get it afterward. So this is interesting. Obviously, I would have preferred to do this in Altdorf. Do I want to engage in this battle now, or do we want to fall back? Because I'll end up falling back past Altdorf's zone of influence. These guys will be stuck in Altdorf's zone of influence. If they go to Altdorf and they start building siege stuff, but they don't attack it this turn, then we will get a huge advantage getting to attack them on our terms next turn with the possibility of an ambush. So not that I don't think we could win this, but I think there's very little downside to the retreat. I don't know. Actually, I'm pretty torn on this. You know what I can do is just take some time to think about it. I'm going to call the video right here. That's going to be it for us for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time for a decision on this. I'm really unsure of whether or not falling back will cause them to attack Altdorf this turn, and it's actually a pretty momentous decision. So I need a moment, but come back to see what the decision is, and we'll see you then.